Imagine a world where when the worst happens, help is right around the corner. Our Community Connection segment today features a business owner turned nonprofit executive director inspired to turn ordinary tasks into extraordinary acts of kindness. Expert Connections starts now. Are you ready to be inspired? Today's guest turned her passion into purpose, launching a nonprofit to help neighbors battling cancer. Welcome to Expert Connections. I'm Julie Holton. Take a moment right now, hit subscribe, support our programming, comment to let us know who you are, and join the conversation. To work in grateful service, TWIGS for short, is the focus of our talk today. I'm joined by founder and executive director Beth Reed. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you here, Beth. You have just an absolutely beautiful and inspiring story. Tell us where this idea for TWIGS, where did it come from?
Well, it's hard to remember now, about 7 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And unfortunately, it was terminal from the beginning, and she was given a year to live, but she made it almost 3. She was quite resilient. And during her long journey with cancer, she kept commenting how lucky my parents were to have, someone to do the housekeeping and my dad could take time off of work to drive her to appointments. My mom did not have to work. And she kept saying, what happens when people don't have these support systems in place, because cancer journeys are rarely 1 or 2 months long. Years is sometimes the process in which it takes for people to go through all their treatments. And sometimes they relapse. And so she just kept commenting on that. And then after she passed, I was looking for, what services are out there that do that. And there just wasn't quite what I thought could be helpful. And so, or not in the same capacity we are doing now. And so I decided I would start a nonprofit in honor of my mom.
Beth, I think it's so important to point out what your services include, because oftentimes when we hear of organizations that support those with cancer, we hear about perhaps medical support or financial support. But with you and your organization, you've made it a specific purpose to focus on other services. How are things like yard work and housekeeping decided on? What made you go in that direction?
Well, for me, our mission statement is to give time back to cancer patients and their loved ones so they can spend time with them and spend time healing. Um, for me, with my mother being terminal from the get-go, every moment we had with her was precious. We knew it was limited, that we didn't have a lot of time left. So because I did not have to do yard work for her, and I didn't have to help her with the housework, and I didn't have to do errands for her and run to the grocery store, that kind of thing. And my dad could take her to her appointments, but I was able to watch her be a grandmother. But that was what I spent those 3 years doing with my mom. And that time, I always get emotional talking about this, but that time is so precious to me. So our mission is that by lifting these everyday burdens, these things that have to be done that people can't ignore, it gives them and their caretakers time with each other. So the idea is that those things that, have to be done once a week, the house cleaning, the yard care, we do provide rides because it's an important part of getting your treatment and healing. But those are the things that, people don't think about that are so hard. And when you're going through cancer, you don't have energy to clean a house or mow a lawn. You don't have the ability to do that because you're going through treatment. A lot of our clients live on their own or don't have a support system nearby, so they don't have anybody else to reach out to help them with those types of things.
What a beautiful thing that you can provide to take that burden off their shoulders. They don't even have to think about the housework. They don't have to think about the yard work. And for those that do have support systems nearby, they can actually spend time with their family instead of time taking care of, cleaning toilets or, that's where you and your organization comes in to do those things that are important to be done, to keep someone comfortable and living in the environment that they deserve, but allows them to focus on other things. This is part of your core values with TWIGS. Can you tell me about those values and what it is that motivates you to help others?
Well, I our primary clients are underprivileged. They don't have the means to pay for those type of things, right? And so when you're already in an uphill climb, with cancer and you don't have a support system, it doesn't help. It's harder to heal. It's harder to concentrate on mindset, and I believe that's a huge part of healing. And so our core values are to give back to those who don't have these things in place. We really, it's important that we'll help all any cancer patients, but we really concentrate on helping those that don't have those support systems close by, that are feeling very alone in their journey. And we just don't want people to have, that struggle on top of everything else that they're going through.
In life, we often say it takes a village. Certainly, it takes a village when you're building a business, which we talk a lot about on this show. It also takes a village when you're building a nonprofit and when you're supporting those who need you in the community. What are some ways that businesses or individuals can partner with TWIGS to support you in the work you do?
We have we've partnered with some businesses. One is a Holt Dojo here in Holt, where we are, that have helped by doing volunteer days with us, and we've gone out and done yard cleanups together. Businesses can obviously always support us sponsoring our events that raise funds that go directly back to the cancer patients. We utilize programming costs to pay for a cleaning service to come, actually a professional cleaning service to come into folks' home and clean for them, and for a yard care company to come and mow for them. They can help support us by spreading the word about what we do. We have an event coming up, a 5K, spreading the word about that. Those little things are huge, and volunteer opportunities are always there. We're always looking for volunteers from the community, any individuals, businesses, for rides, for yard care. Sometimes if we don't have the programming cost, or we don't have, might not have somebody available to do it, volunteers can step in and do that kind of stuff too. So those are all ways that you can help support us.
You mentioned your event that's coming up. This is a big event and it sounds really fun. Tell us about it.
So we're partnering with the Mark Advocacy Group. Marcy Zepka is the founder, and her story and mine is very similar. And so we decided to band together and pool our resources and do a 5K. So we're both very new nonprofits, and this is our first 5K. It's going to be at Hawk Island. We're going to have a DJ. It's the Rock, Roll, and Race. You can come out and you can walk the 5K. You can walk a 1 mile portion of the event, and we'll have a kids run. Kona Ice is going to be present. So it should be a really good time. It should be an enjoyable event. And the proceeds will all be going back to our two organizations. And you get a t-shirt, you get a medal, just like you would for a normal 5K, but it should be a lot of fun. And you don't have to be an athlete or a runner in order to participate. Anybody, all abilities are welcome.
How does this event really reflect the larger mission? I mean, part of what you're doing is to support those who are going through the cancer journey, but it also sounds like you're bringing people together in community, neighbors helping neighbors. How does this event reflect that?
I just don't think that anybody does anything alone, right? Everybody needs community resources, community partners. As a nonprofit, partnering with another nonprofit is great. That sense of helping each other, being there for each other. I mean, that's really what's driving everything that both our organizations are doing. They help advocate for kidney patients, so they're also community oriented. And so when you bring community out together to support organizations like ours, it helps people, again, not feel alone, that we're all here together to help each other. And these are support systems that the community has. And so outreach and getting the word out about what we do is also a huge part of that.
Beth, what are some of your goals as you look to the future? What do you envision for the growth and evolution of TWIGS in the coming years?
Well, you always want to dream real big. I just really want to establish an organization that is around for years after I am not. So I hope that what I'm starting here carries on, and however that looks, if it just stays local, that's great. If it goes farther, that's wonderful too. But in particular, with our major cancer centers here, we just are a continued resource for years to come for cancer patients, then that would be my dream come true.
You're also the founder, and so I'm curious to know kind of like both sides of the coin here. What has been your most rewarding experience as the founder of this organization?
Well, as a founder, I was also the first everything, right? So I did all the volunteering, and I've done all of the connections. So I have met the most amazing community members. We really live in a amazing city, and there's so many people willing to support and help out whenever they can, offer advice. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. So that has been amazing.
On the flip side, anyone who launches an organization, there are going to be challenges along the way. And so I imagine you faced a few. Tell us about maybe one challenge and maybe it's an ongoing challenge, something that you're facing that perhaps the community can help with.
Getting volunteers for rides is an ongoing challenge for us, mostly because rides happen Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 for the most part, and most people work. And it's hard to. We have some amazing volunteers, and we've been very blessed to have a couple, but we really could probably use 5 or 6 more. So that challenge um, is there. And I did, like I said before, I did all the volunteering, and that was rewarding. But I have to also be able to run the business. So so the challenge is I have to give up part of. I still volunteer, but I have to give up some of that so that I can do the other half of it. And it's hard to find people with the availability. It's not that people aren't willing; they just people are very busy nowadays, and that's a challenge for sure.
Yeah, the beauty of being in the starting stages of any organizational development, of wearing all of those hats on the org chart, and finding people to take some of those hats off so you can focus on your growth and on continuing to help those that you're helping. So I love that. Just heard one way that members of the community can lend a helping hand by driving. That the members of the community want to get involved, transportation, for instance, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get connected?
Really, the easiest way is to email me at twigs753@gmail.com and or call me 517-927-0153. On our website, you can go through that as well.
I love your story. I love your passion. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much.
That is all for this episode of Expert Connections. Check out more interviews in our Community Connections playlist and be sure to hit subscribe. I'm Julie Holton. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week.